So last time, my character Warden and our good dear friend the dwarf ran away from a dragon into a dungeon area where we found a bunch of adventurers poking around a mucky-looking pool with a big stick. Um, they started to prod at the creature, and the creature in the muck responded by latching on to the rod. Warden, being the watcher he is, goes to the hallway to watch, and nothing came as they dealt with the creature with arrows and blades and flame, I believe. I think someone took a torch to it too, I don't remember. Creature was dealt with, and beneath the muck we found a skeleton, or a skull rather, with golden teeth, and maybe some other coins in there as well. And I also happened to notice there were some dead goblins in one of the hallways, so we decided not to go that direction, and we went the other direction. At which point we came to a crossway in the dungeon where we could go towards this room that was filled with these statues or something. We didn't really get a good look because we were at a distance, but then we found this one statue in this one hall where it spoke to us, and asking what was the true true morals of a knight, or the virtues of a knight. To which Ratbite was able to answer, truthful answer, and the doors of this tomb were opened. Then Edward was able to determine that this was the tomb of Sir Brandon, the Knight of Brandonsford, and they ransacked the crypt and took the gleaming magic sword, which I guess that we didn't know it was gleaming then, but this magic sword, the fabled sword to slay the shield, along with a bunch of other stuff. At what point we had this spectral form approach us, and approaches me directly because I was kind of in the back, telling us to get out. There were thieves. In which case I was able to dissuade the ghost by convincing him I was innocent in the matter. In which case we kind of Scooby-Dooed the ghost out of there, and without having any more confrontation. But once we made it outside, thinking we were scot-free, the dragon was there melting some goblins with magma breath, and we decided to take our luck in the woods, and we ran deep into the woods where a couple of terrifying wolf gods captured one of our squints, our dwarf, or our halfling, our hobbit compatriot, and we were able to stop them with a really good shot from Bashaw, and we were able to deter them away. The other one left after we killed the one. And we were able to take this stinky but also terrifyingly powerful wolf pelt looking thing back to town. And on our way there, we found some goblins with a cart, and we dealt with them and got some free, reeds or something? Some type of thatch or something, some type of building material of some kind. And then we also got another goblin cart when we killed them, but then turns out that they were actually holding on to raw metals, which was strange because the rest of the group had already recognized these metals as already being delivered to Brandonsford, which set off red flags for everybody because that meant that Brandonsford was probably under attack. And once we get close to town, we can see, sure enough, that there's pillars of smoke coming from them. And they were raided by goblins. Everyone blames us for the fact that they were raided by goblins. I don't know why, because I don't know what these guys convinced to the townsfolk. But sure enough, the allies that they have made in town were able to vouch for them, and turning everyone back to being on our side and agreeing that we're not the true villains here. At which point, I believe Edward and Bashaw and Ratbite all agreed that we're going to go and deal with this dragon and use this now powerful sword to protect the town.
Yep. That all sounds great. That's what is going on And so, you awaken in Brandonsford. What I think is the 8th day that you've been here? I think. It is a brisk, kind of chilly day, and there's a bunch of fog that lays on the ground, and the ground is wet, and there's a chill in the air. We can tell that it's rained through the night when you slept in the House of Brandon. And Jake, the House of Brandon where they've been staying is the only human-sized house. The rest of them come up to about here by their ceiling. All of the Hobbit dwellings are above ground. The House of Brandon is made of stone. It looks like an old chapel with stained glass windows and ivy and that has crawled along the outside of it and overgrown. It was empty, as far as you know, when they came here and the last you saw it. But the matronly Order of Good Manners has come by, and they have put all sorts of decorations. And in a very orderly but strange way, they didn't have any human-sized things, so they brought in several hobbit beds so that you could have one bed, and they laid them side by side. And they didn't have any human-sized trunks, so they put several hobbit trunks together for your belongings. And they've decorated a place for you to stay. And Rortrude has told you that she'll do everything she can to help you. And when you awake today, you find that the hobbits are out about their business. The fall festival has ended. You have heard some of them say that it was this is the season of reaping, the fall. And the fall is coming to an end, and they're preparing for winter time. And so everyone is out about their business, despite the horrors of what happened yesterday. There is a kind of melancholy mood about, but you can see that hobbits are about their business, except all of them are now wearing metal hats.
Like helmets?
Some of them look like you could... Yeah, I mean, it looks like they're trying to wear helmets, but some of them are made of pots and things because, you assume there's no robust armory enough to outfit every hobbit in Brandonsford with a helmet. But they're trying.
Doing their hobbity best.
Okay, well, if I remember rightly, we still need to go and handle some sort of a tree sap
Yep.
situation.
Were we going to go see the
dragon.
Were we going to go see the witch? Also, was that part of the plans?
We need to get the tree sap and then go see the witch, because I think she's the one who told us about that. Or was it the apothecary? Pretty sure it was the witch.
I think the witch.
Yeah, the apothecary doesn't know anything about dragon.
She might.
remedies.
She's in touch with the witch, so maybe
Well,
she could help. But we gotta get the stuff first, which was to the
Southwest,
west. Yeah.
on the other side of the river.
That's what I was thinking. To the west of the town of.
I have it written
River.
down. I just got to go dig out my notes. Right back.
And then, of course, there's the issue of the Goblin King. If we think the goblins are going to come back, but
They do need to be dealt with.
yeah. So if I don't know which one is more pressing at this point, the dragon or the Goblin King. They've already been raided once.
Yeah, but they're a little bit of a... You know what? No. We were going to do a training montage for the hobbits. That needs to be thing one. Then we can leave them a little bit with a little bit more confidence. Can we do that? Can we spend like a day, with the sergeant or whoever it is, the Reeve, and maybe our retainers,
I thought the Reeve
Ned?
died.
Yeah, there's been a new guy
he
assigned.
did, but, yeah, somebody
But there are still bounders, and we got Squints and Ned.
Ned, Squints, and Knob are now level 1 adventurers, right? So they should be, at least they're probably better than the Reed at this point.
Let's see if we can, knock a few of these hobbits' heads together and get them to maybe a couple more to get at least close to level 1. It's not, we don't count as monsters, but
let me find in my notes.
Western wood. Trees in western wood. Wine from the sap. And the weird creatures protect the trees.
Oh, here it is.
Oh, Lord.
Weird how? Weird like goblin weird?
I mean,
I think fairy weird.
It's gonna be fairies, yeah.
Which we've had some great encounters, so that can't go south at
all of them have been bad.
So
I think the only one that went well was when we basically twisted the one little guy's arm to help out the tavern keeper. And
have you guys already had a run-in with the Goblin King then?
No, but
just goblins.
Yeah, we've heard of him a lot.
You think we could convince the Goblin King that the dragon is a threat to him and his kingdom? We could just team up.
I think they're
enthralled to him.
I think the dragon's probably the reason why goblins are unifying.
Gotcha.
Like,
I've got it written down, but my notes make no sense.
I have that problem all the time. I was literally just trying to find the same NPC who the poor guy's name, Hartmut. And then he's just lost in an absolute chaos of, like, things that don't make any sense all around him. Like, literally, one of it just says, yes! Like, Y-E-Z with an exclamation point. What is it? I don't even know what it means.
Like, I remember writing down more notes than just 2.5 pages, but it's just not there.
All right, so...
And then for some reason, yeah, sorry. Yeah.
No, it's okay. Yeah, all right, so, a thing of note, Knob, Ned, and Squints are not just, like, here, right? Like, so, when you wake up, they don't live in the house with you. They're out doing their own things. And you don't see them. The first person you see that you recognize that's out is Hartmut, who's scooting around town about business, running into groups of bounders and then scooting over to other groups of hobbits. That's the first person that you see across from the intersection where the sign is. I also want to remind you that you have all sorts of different merchants here. And then I'll just remind you of kind of like the different people in town real quick. You have the Golden Egg Tavern, the Clumsy Fox Tavern. You all helped Quinn at the Golden Egg Tavern with his leprechaun issue. You have a general store. You have the town hall. Warwick the Smith, who you helped obtain the dwarven iron goods for, and he gave you the mithril chain shirt. And the hunting lodge, which only has old one-armed George Bilberry now, who's a good friend of yours. And then the Matham house that has the old Matham keeper, William, which is where Knob works. And then Ingrid the apothecary. And then the farms over on the edge of town with Allura Gamwich and Farmer Gill. And that's where Ned and Squints live.
Well, let me hail Hartmut. Oi, Hartmut, slow down a sec.
He scoots up right underneath you, and then like gets really close to you and looks straight up, and he's like, "Yes, sir, yes."
A Star Wars Death Trooper.
Can you please get a hold of? First of all, why is everyone wearing metal?
Oh, those are the safety hats. The matronly order of good manners says that we need to be wearing our safety hats right now.
Well, that's very thoughtful. Can you get a hold of who's in charge of the bounders now?
Oh, that'd be the Shire of Brill. Okay, gotta go. He scoots off.
Where's Brill? Wait. Yeah.
Sorry, my son distracted me.
It's okay.
What was the answer to the question?
Brill was
Brill the Shire.
I've got him listed as the first bounder.
Okay. Yeah, so he's off to find him then.
Lieutenant Bounder. Okay. He's a Lieutenant Bounder, I don't know.
Well, I mean, let him know we want to talk to him.
Where's Brill at? Come here. Oh, wait.
He's probably at the town hall.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, I'll head over there then.
Okay. The town hall, as always, there is a lot of activity here, more than usual. So you do see that the Bounders are... they are discussing things, and they are coming in and out of the building in groups of twos. They themselves are wearing different metal accoutrement on their heads. And Brill is over in the corner in the very place that you saw Eric many times, with a furrowed brow and rubbing his temple, himself now very worried. And there are people here with different petitions and concerns. You have to stoop when you come in. The beams for the ceiling are just about at neck level for you, and so you have to stoop and bend over the whole time.
What was his name? Brill?
Brill.
Brill. Good lad. Good sir. Let's talk about the training of your people.
It's the big people. Training? Oh, you came for the mandatory training that you need to do. No problem, right away. Let's.
No. You misunderstand me, my good sir. I wonder if you and your boys might care to join myself and perhaps my friends for a what should we call it? Attorney? Shall we call it attorney?
Attorney? You mean like a game?
Yes, a game of sorts.
Oh no, sir. I don't have time for games. If you want to be speaking to someone about games, that would be the old hill dogs. They're the ones that focus on the games.
I'll be straighter about this. Your bounders need better discipline and they need better training. We aim to provide it to both you and them. And we'd be glad to do this service, but we want to make sure that when the goblins come, if they come again, which they very well might, that you will be a hard target for them.
Oh. Well, how would you...
Did any of the goblins... I was popping, listening. Any of the goblins get stabbed or anything, or was it just hobbits? Just curious.
Oh, yeah. No, it was just hobbits.
Yeah, see, that's what we're aiming to fix.
We want it to be the other way around. Yes, yeah. We would like it to be the other way around next time.
Oh, dear. Well, how would we do that?
Well, you need knives, or of a sort. You need something that, or perhaps it doesn't have to be stabbed. They could also be beat on the head. But something that would do that job is what you all need, and you need maybe even some small shields and a little bit of training on how to use them.
Jake, they've been here for about a week here in the Shire of Brandonsford. The local municipal force and sort of police force, although they would never dare to actually arrest anyone. That's only one person's job in town. But they could give someone either a stern talking to if there was to be a fuss, or if it comes right down to it, they might have to use their stick, their whooping stick. Although no one knows of a time that's happened between hobbits for generations.
Right. I mean, family squabbles every once in a while, but nothing more severe than that.
Yeah. No.
Yeah. What I would like to suggest is, so there's a stone wall that goes around Brandonsford, right?
Yeah, one of its main features is a stone wall that would put many human medieval cities to shame.
What I would suggest maybe even more practical than training up the hobbits for self-protection is because they're all farmers and burrowers by nature. If we could just make a mound of dirt on the town side of the wall, so they could walk up and down and just have someone look out and watch, just to have like a watching hill where they can watch for people to come and sound an alarm. Even that could be extremely useful. But I don't know how practical that is with resource and time, too.
Some other things that your character would have noticed that they already know is the bounders. They wear a hat that sets them apart as a bounder with a feather and a sash. And the characters also have a sash, but it's hobbit-sized, so they have to either wear it like a scarf or else it just won't fit. Or they'll have to put it on them in some other way. And they also have the little hat, which also doesn't fit. So they usually just pin it to them or carry it around. But it's the only symbol of office that would have them recognized as an appropriate and respectable member of the community. And I don't think you have that.
Okay.
But anyways, you noticed coming into the gate that no one was hardly watching the gate. They actually have a gate to the wall on two ends. And they even have observation posts that they can scale on those two. They have two, I don't know what they're called, but it's not a watchtower. It's a place where you can scale up on that end of the wall to watch out from the gate.
So a gatehouse.
Yeah, except open, But it was unmanned, and you all would have noted that every time you pass in and out of the gate, they're just kind of not guarding it. They're not just not very good at it.
So we'll set up shifts. Bro, you hear me? Shifts for the gate guard and for the watch. That will keep watch by walking the walls at regular intervals. And then I'm going to go ahead and break it down for him if he just sits there staring at me.
Yeah, he is. He's sitting there just staring. Yeah.
I'm going to say, Brill, listen to me. Do you hear me?
Yeah, well, of course.
Yes. Is it making sense to you? Does it seem like a good idea?
Well, I think that's a great idea, and and we can increase the shifts on the walls. Of course, we need to take our regular breaks. That's mandated in our rules, and they're going to have to rotate out for their different meals every 2 hours. But I mean, we can be real vigorous, and I think we can go every 3 hours. Yes, me.
You mean there's someone there, Brill? There should never be a time when someone is not on the wall or guarding the gate.
Of course. You get the sense that he doesn't have this conception that you have of like.
Okay, where can I find Rortrude? I have the feeling she might be the only person in town that will hear what I'm saying.
Oh, Rortrude. Oh. And then actually, you notice that several of the hobbits here in the town hall, when you bring up Rortrude, they have a sheepish look on their face. And Brill says, Rortrude had to visit with someone today. A private matter. I'm sorry, I cannot. But she's over on the east side of town. If you feel you need to speak with her, I'm sure she'll be done.
Also, have all the kids in town collect rocks. Just to throw at goblins. Just in case.
Have them collect, but then distribute to everybody.
Yeah, everybody in town should have a good rock pile ready to throw rocks at goblins.
A pouch full of rocks hanging from their belt at all times. Big, nice river stones, the smooth kind.
Oh, yeah.
You can really huck those far.
We could
and don't get them confused with nuts or snacks either.
Yeah, we could find some real good throwing rocks. I bet. Is this? You want to make a game out of this too? Is this?
No.
I've not heard of it.
Well, actually, that's a good idea. We should set up targets, set up buckets, And everybody should practice so that they can stay in good form should the goblins visit again.
Stone throwing game, in parentheses, or in quotations. Well, all right. I could ask the Hill Dogs about that. That's something maybe they might be interested. They're really good, good at croquet. So I bet they would be pretty good at throwing stones in buckets.
Who are these Hill Dogs?
The Hill Dog Croquet Club. They're the ones in town that, well, if you ask me, they're a bit rough for my taste. But
just the guys to get rocks. Good.
I think I don't know if they'd be too interested in learning a new game. There's not been any Hobbit Shire that's played any game except croquet for a very long time. And they take their croquet very seriously. But we could I could talk to them about it.
Yes, where can I find that?
They usually practice over on the west side of town. There's a big grassy field out there where they set up their wickets.
Perfect.
We need to find Rortrude.
All right, we'll go after Rortrude first. Thanks very much, Brill. Keep up the hard work.
Oh, absolutely. We're going to take this very seriously. We're not going to have just goblins come in here. They didn't, without even asking or anything. That's not going to happen again. Not so long as I'm in charge. And he indignantly puts his hands on his hips.
Well, I'm eager to see your progress as the time goes on.
You mentioned weapons. We've got quite a store of weapons here in Brandonsford.
You do?
Oh yes, the good and proper prestigious Order of the Great Eagle. They keep no, that's not right. Who has the weapons? It's the Knights of the Old Road. They keep a stockpile of weapons and they maintain them.
Well, why aren't they on the Bounders?
The Bounders? Oh, they wouldn't be on Bounders.
What do they do?
Oh, they're the Knights of the Old Road. They were appointed back in 1,000 years ago, back in Brandon's time, to guard the roads. That was their ceremonial purpose in those days, leading into the different communities here in the Evening Lands. And they keep all of the regalia and the weapons and all of the memorials of the various Knights of the Old Road across the ages.
Shaw kind of snort laughs, like that kind of, and then just kind of hides the laugh.
Yeah, in those days, the king of the old kingdom had said that they gave them charge of the roads.
So what do they do again?
Well, they're the Knights of the Old Road. They maintain all the old weapons and the regalia and the. I don't understand. He looks around like.
Do they?
I don't.
Am I taking crazy pills? Okay. Where can they be found again?
Oh, they're right just on the other side of the street here.
Shaw starts walking over there.
Yes.
Okay. Have a good day then. And he starts getting back to paperwork because he's got a lot of it. Oh, wait, just a moment there, sir. You, and points to, he points to, let's see. Oh, can you all hear me?
Yeah, we lost Lane for a second. So
okay. Lost Lane too. Points to Warden. Says, you there?
Yes.
I don't recognize you back when they came in here. Have you filled out the paperwork to be here in town?
He just stands there, like waiting, waiting, maybe hoping deep down that he'll just forget and move on to something else. He just sits there, standing there, frozen.
Now, I'm afraid the ladies, they'll... I won't last long in this job if people don't fill out the proper paperwork. I'm sure you
We all had to do it, my friend.
He just takes a half step backwards. and then he mutters to himself, my handwriting's not that good.
Oh, don't worry about that. No, we don't judge anyone for their handwriting here. We have everything that you need, and they bring out just a huge stack of papers that you need to review and go through.
He looks through them, fluttering. What do these papers look like?
They look like old, yellowed, long and large, thick papers. They seem to spend a lot of their woodcutting here in paper making. There's probably a wealthy person in town who owns the paper mill.
Okay, but like, what does the text on the paper say?
Oh,
that's what my question was.
Yeah, it's in common, so you understand it. It basically says that you'll be a proper hobbit, and that and it lays out like all of this properly hobbitish behavior that you'll that at certain times it's expected of a hobbit that you'll dress appropriately, that you'll not cause anything like a hoopla around in Brandonsford, and that it's a kind of a combination of like ethics and training, like things that you're reading, and then it says you've agreed to it, and then you're actually supposed to demonstrate that you can perform a duty or function in Brandonsford in order to join. The papers are also archaic. It doesn't look like many people actually do this.
So are there already signatures on these papers?
No.
So they make specific papers for each individual?
Yep.
I just kind of like look over the papers towards them and say, where are all of your... Where do you put all of these after they've been signed?
Oh, we keep them here at the town hall. We make sure that we keep good track of the paperwork until they go to the Matham House after several seasons. And then we keep all of the papers at the Matham House.
What's the Matham House?
The Matham House. And he just looks at you like baffled, like, are you stupid? Like, the
Yeah.
Matham House, and then he looks over at another hobbit, like, how do I even explain that? It'd be like trying to explain what a restaurant is or something. Like, it's just like, what?
Right.
I don't know. Can you all explain what a Matham House is? You've been there.
It's a museum. I mean, it's a museum and a library.
Oh.
To get into Hobbit lore, Matham is a word that Tolkien invented, and it basically means like an old item, basically a relic or a knickknack from the past.
A doodad, knickknack.
And,
they collect all of their knickknacks across generations, and they never give any of it up, and they always put all of it away. And so he looks at you, he's like, you don't have a Matham House where you're from?
I don't have a house where I'm from.
Oh, dear. Oh, gosh.
He just kind of...
okay. Okay.
He takes a deep breath and kind of blows through his lips as he's like, well, you have a quill?
Oh, of course. Yeah, here you go. And you'll need this ink. And they gives you like a tub of ink and then a place to sit that's too small for you.
And I sit down and I roll up my sleeves and I hold the quill in my right hand and then my left hand and then my right hand and my left hand. I can't remember which hand I use. It's been so long since I've held one. And then I'll just start signing away, I guess. I don't think he understands exactly what it is that he's signing on to. Like define what a hobbit is, and he's pretty certain he's not one. But it doesn't know if it's like culturally thing or what he's really agreeing to. But he's just like, all right, I'll agree to it.
Yeah.
Legalese.
Do you sign them without reading them?
I mean, I'd like to read them, but you made it sound like it's really dry legal work that I can't really understand. So.
I mean, I think you could understand it. It's just going to take you 10 times longer to read it.
Yeah, I think I will read it.
Okay. Well, it takes you literally all day.
Okay.
It's just,
you guys have fun playing the session. I'm gonna.
Well, we'll just do these things and then come back, and we'll get back to you. Don't worry. But yeah, you.
I just volunteered to sit out for the session. You guys have fun.
No.
Oops.
The papers. So in reading them, it's clear to you that this stack of papers is an anachronism. It's not. This is like if first of all, you can tell that the papers are old. And it looks like this is if like another hobbit were to immigrate to Brandonsford and then become a citizen of Brandonsford. And basically, one of the things you said it's cultural. One of the things about their culture is that you're expected to do something here and be a part of an existing social order. And in fact, that is something that is not explained. And before they leave the town hall, what would you even do or be? And that's something really obvious from the paperwork that you'll need to figure out.
All right. I think I'd probably look it over and ask if there's like a possibility if I could just be a hermit that's not a part of their town. Like, can I just sleep in someone's backyard and then in dutiful repayment of that service, I could tend to the lawn of the person or something, or like do some other type of menial task for them.
Well, let me look at who died in the Goblin raid here. Oh wait, I'm rolling the wrong die. I need a D50. Oh, I could roll a 10 and a D5, right? Is that wrong? That is. Would that work? I don't have a D50. 17.
No, that would work. It makes sense.
Do you know how to make bows and arrows?
I know how to fire them. I'm not one of a Fletcher myself. But...
You know how to fire a bow and arrow?
Yeah, I've learned the hard way.
Well, we're in a fix, so we can consider it part-time for now. You can be the town Fletcher.
But I don't know.
Well, you'll just have to figure that out. And also, you'll have to take care of the pet raven.
Oh. He raises an eyebrow. The pet raven. This
is important. Look, it sounds like you're not able to be a Fletcher. I regret even bringing it up. Let me see here.
But being the pet raven keeper, that sounds like that could be up my alley.
Well, you have to make the bows. You can't
bowman.
The bowyer in town has to take care of the pet raven. And he looks at the Hobbit again like, these people. Like, I
shrug and
I just forget it. No, I'm sorry. I just don't think you're right for this position. I don't.
I kind of put my hand on my chest and outstretch my other hand and say, "Who's the bowyer now? Who's the Fletcher now?"
He's dead.
Oh, well. If only I had someone I could be the apprentice to, then we could.
Well, what about fishing? Can you fish?
I can learn.
All right, then you'll have to be the town fisherman. When that's another person that died in the Goblin raid.
But who's gonna tend to the raven?
And he doesn't even answer it or explain the raven at all. And he goes and gets some more papers.
Okay.
And it has stuff where you're taking over as a town fisherman from a nearby pond where you're supposed to, and the river, of course. You head out to the river and you're supposed to fish. It comes with you now have a fishing, I don't know what it'd be called, a place where fish, you put fish and hang them and stuff. And inside of that shack you have, which is too small for you, you have a net, fishing gear, and a tinderbox, tackle box.
All right.
And a fishing rod.
I imagine some fishing string as well, like some thin string.
Yeah. Okay. I'm going to move the camera for everybody else. Hey, Dave. Okay, so you all said that you go to the... where do you go?
We're going to find Rortrude.
You're going to find Rortrude. Okay. I think he said that Rortrude was on the other end of town, visiting someone. Yeah.
And Bashaw's just going right over where he pointed.
Okay. Several hobbits. They see that you're headed that way to what looks like a very stately old cottage with a large wraparound porch. It looks fairly large for one of the hobbit houses. And I mean large like laterally. It's recently painted and there's all sorts of flowers that are hanging outside. And hobbits look at you and whisper as you approach.
Kind of walks up to the door. Is there hobbits like around there, or are they kind of behind me, watching me go towards it?
I have to change the tune for this. Let's see here.
Got myself into now.
You may have gotten yourself into at least a hoopla. We'll see.
Maybe we can make it a hubbub.
Downgrade it to a hubbub, yeah. Maybe like this? No. Maybe like this? No, that's too much.
Oh, that's
too
fantastic.
Much. It's too much. Your big, heavy feet creak up on the porch as you approach, and you hear a voice. You hear Rortrude's voice as you approach a light swinging door that's very easy to open. And inside of the house, you can see an entire circle of very elderly hobbit women. They're all knitting together. And Rortrude sees you, and she turns around nervously, and she says, "Oh, I'm so sorry. Please, please just give me a moment, madam. What are you doing here?" And she turns around and looks at you.
Yeah, looks down. I'm looking for the knights.
What knights? I'm so sorry, madams. I'm so sorry. And then turns back to you. She's dressed very
slowly back out of the building.
I will answer her question.
Okay.
My dear lady, I desire but a moment of your time.
I'm gonna just kind of like chill that out a little bit. Oh, come on. I need something like this, maybe. At that, a kindly old voice just calmly says, "A moment of two's time. Who have you come to see, young man?" And there's yeah.
There's a what?
There are just like a large number in a circle of very elderly hobbit women.
Rotrude.
Oh, Rotrude. Oh, well, we had just finished a delightful conversation, and Rotrude was kind enough to come and visit us. Of course, we can't steal all of Rotrude's time. And then she just smiles very gently toward Rotrude. And Rotrude just as nervous as like, yes, madam.
Shaw's gaze kind of shifts towards them, towards Edward, and he's just got this really puzzled look on his face.
So shall I just say it here then, or?
Rotrude is like, thank you so much for your time, everyone. It was a pleasure seeing you. Please pardon me. And a few of them just nod, and then they're just quietly smiling as they keep doing their needlework. And Rotrude leaves. She leaves and closes the door and comes out. And she's like, how rude to just come and interrupt me like that. What can I do for you? And she takes off the nice hat she was wearing, and she puts on an iron pot.
Yes. No, the iron pots are a great idea.
Yes, well, I don't see you wearing one.
Well, I'm wearing... my lady, you are correct. I have my own helmet. I think I've left it back at Brandon's house.
Well, you'll know that we've just enacted an ordinance, and it's been signed at the town hall, and we expect everyone ought to be properly wearing their helmets when they're about town.
An excellent precaution.
You know that 2 of the 10 hobbits slain were hit in the head.
Does not surprise me. So, on the subject of proper precautions, may I suggest some that I've thought of?
And she's like taken aback, like as someone. She's like, well, I just don't. We have meetings at the town hall for such things as this. Are there meetings for this minute? I didn't consent to this.
Shall I go and set up a meeting?
Of course. Would you not want it recorded for public record? Are you trying to hide something from the good public?
No, I'm trying to save their lives.
Oh, and suggestions for whom? For myself?
Suggestions on a training program for the Bounders and the Knights.
You keep saying that. What Knights?
Well, Brill was talking about some Knights of the Road or something like that.
Oh, the Knights of the Old Road. Those old fools.
Yes, so in any case, a training regiment for whoever it is whose job it is to protect you all. And in addition, some target practice with stones for any villager that feels so inclined, so that you all will be ready and waiting when the next, if the next predation should occur.
What's your charisma modifier?
+1.
A public safety initiative.
Exactly, madam.
Yes, well, this needs to be brought up at the meeting next week. For certain. And I agree. I think that we need to take public safety more seriously around here. I'm sure that... have you spoken to Brill about this yet?
Yes, I feel I was unable to communicate my intention.
Unbelievable. Unbelievable. He's just started that job, and here he is just ignoring matters of public safety. I'm going to have... This is going to be a fuss. I'll tell you that.
Well, madam, I think it's a difficult time, and so I certainly took no offense from our interaction, but I felt it might be necessary to come and have a word with you just to be sure that everything was in its proper place.
Yes, well, I wholeheartedly agree, and well, it's good to know that you care about public safety. Now, I'd like to see all of you, and she turns to Bashaw and Ben and everything. She's like, I would like to see everyone with helmets on their heads by the end of the day. That would have saved 20% of hobbits in the last goblin raid. Possibly.
You make a good point. You know who doesn't wear helmets? Goblins, usually. Aim for the heads.
Yes, well, and the goblins, they didn't seem very kind to me. But anyways, I'm glad that you take our public safety here so seriously, and if you have any other suggestions, I'd be happy to add that to a petition next week at the town hall meeting.
I will certainly make a note of it and add it to the agenda, madam.
Now, if you'll excuse me, and she holds up the hem of her dress, and she runs off, holding, getting down the stairs, and then holding her the pot on her head as she goes off to the next person to terrorize.
See, Basha, it's just about approaching her the right way.
All of these people are going to die.
Hey, Dave. Thornlin can show up at any time. No big deal. Whatever. You know.
All right.
We're just we're trying to get the hobbits ready, and it's very difficult. This is way worse than the dungeon, as it turns out.
All right. I walk up from the outhouse. Yeah.
Yeah, Thornlin. It's been a
drink in my hand. I don't know.
It's been a rough going. Yeah. All right. So where do you all go next? Meanwhile, actually, let me pan back to excuse me, back to Warden. Warden, it takes you hours, but you complete your paperwork, and you're now the official town fisherman.
So I didn't have to agree to be a hobbit whatsoever.
Well, you have to be properly hobbitish.
Oh, but I don't have to be a
So
hobbit.
they might tolerate the fact that you're not a hobbit, but, you know, you at least act properly like one.
Okay. I guess I'll go ahead and try to do my duties while we're all in town. I don't really know exactly. I guess I take my head up from looking over my papers, and everyone else is gone. So I'll just go ahead.
You can join everybody else if you want. You know, you can go fishing between sessions.
Yeah. Oh, okay. Then we'll do that then.
Okay. Okay. Where does everybody go?
I mean, if it's an acre, he could probably see us. You know what I mean? Like
Right,
way over on the east side of town.
That's
You
true.
can,
We
you can
also-
see over
and,
top of all
yeah.
the hobbit
You can
buildings,
see,
too.
yeah, exactly. Just
See
kinda
head
waving.
height, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I'll go meet up with everybody else.
Okay.
I know there's ink smeared all over his brow and on his hands everywhere.
How are your fingers?
Pretty numb. But I think I'm done though.
Did they allow you to do the expedited form?
That's an option. No.
Yes.
I think I did things the difficult way, I guess.
Well, you probably earned their respect.
Well, I hope so. What do you guys do around town? I'm gonna be the fisherman.
We're bounders. See? And I point to ours.
Everybody's got the
little hat.
and the little hat.
I'll hat pinned to a sash around my neck because it won't fit around the waist yet.
Oh, I see that now. Oh well. I'm gonna be the fisherman. I think I can handle that. You guys, I don't want to be compared to bounders anyway. I think they seem to be lacking at their duties.
I'm forced to agree.
Speaking of duties, what are we up to now?
We're gonna go and we're gonna meet the croquet club, right? The hill. What are they called?
Is that
Hill
how you pronounce it?
dogs.
Croquet?
hill dogs, and they seem, performance oriented.
Well, if they're good at croquet, they can at least use a mallet.
Right,
So-
they can use mallets,
Very
and maybe they'd be interested in some rock throwing as well.
Yeah, looking for rocks as we're heading to the hill dogs or trying to figure out where they're at. I guess there's a croquet field or a wicket field, whatever you can, right?
So
Yep.
in your efforts to navigate Hobbit politics, so far you have as proposed a stone throwing game. So you're gonna try to go find them right now, and then Rortrude, but this is 6 days off, is going to propose with your partnership a public safety initiative, which could include actual preparation for armed violent conflict, even if she doesn't look at it that way. Okay, so on the opposite end of town is a big open field, a playing field, and there are wickets, as it looks like the grass has been trimmed down around here, and hobbits with hammers, and they're dressed like very well, except they're bruised and covered in grass stains. And you can actually see that would Edward know what croquet is?
I mean,
I don't think anyone else would.
I don't. I know some history. I don't know the history of croquet, so I don't know how old it is.
Yeah, I guess. I want to know right now. Croquet, and it's croquet, right?
According to Robin Williams, it came before golf.
Nice.
CRE.
I have terrible news. Unfortunately, it says it was first played in 1856.
Right, and I mean, Hobbit culture is sort of anachronistic. It's mid 19th century agriculture.
Yeah. So you all have never seen anybody play this game, but this is what it looks like. It looks like they've taken metal frames, like an A, and they've taken it down and made these little gates. And they all have different hammers with different colors, and there are balls with different colors. And every so often, and they just like power walk from place to place with their hammers to balls of different colors, and they go, huh! And then they hit the ball with the hammer, and it goes through, and everybody will stand and watch as they do this, and it'll go through maybe one of the gates or not. And meanwhile, another hobbit sprints from somewhere else and tries to grab the thing and dodge it out of the way and grab it and scoop up the wicket and like it tackle the wicket before the ball can go through it. And another hobbit, meanwhile, comes up with one of his hammer and just beats the guy while he's trying to hit the ball through the wicket.
Definitely
This with great
weaponize
interest
this.
because it's got hammers.
And then however long it takes for it to not go through the wicket or not, then they'll go, oh, good job, all right, good job, and then hut, and then another one will do it, and then somebody else starts beating that guy with a hammer, and so on and so forth. They take turns doing that.
This is the first glint of hope for this place we've seen.
Ahoy there!
Pause. All right. Oh, big people.
Are they wearing their helmets?
Yes, they're wearing their helmets.
Okay.
Yeah. Good point. They're all male, and one of them goes, "Popo, hold my hammer," or I don't know what they're called, but so I'm going to call them hammers. And
It's a mallet.
a mallet.
It's called
That's
a
right.
mallet.
A
in
mallet.
croquet.
Yeah, and they're not obvious. Although your characters don't know what croquet is, anyways, your players would know this is not exactly croquet what they're doing. But he comes up and he wipes some dirt off of his some big gloves that he's wearing, and he reaches out the gloved hand, and he's like, "Oh wait, Big people. Oh, yes. And then he bows because he thinks that that's what big people want. And then he's like, my name's Bernard Chubb. What's your name?
Edward. These are my friends, Bashaw, Ben.
No.
Daggone.
Arlen?
Say it again.
What'd you find?
Arlen?
Darnley.
Conlon and I've forgotten the
Warden.
word.
All right,
Thank you.
take a break. And he like yells that out to everybody, and they all start leaning on their mallets and they start fussing with each other. And he says, "Well, it's good to meet you. Do you play?"
It seems a fascinating game. Never have seen it before.
Oh,
Very much would like to.
oh, you would like to, eh? Oh, well. It just so happens that we're getting ready for our annual scrimmage. So, if you're,
It appears to be a contact sport.
oh yes, it's not for the faint of heart. It takes a tough hobbit. You might say it takes a hobbit that's just a bit vulgar in nature to be able to play croquet. But you're welcome to. There's 5 of you. So if you want to try a set of scrimmage, you're welcome to try.
Yes, I would.
Well then, do you have your own equipment?
No.
Okay.
What do we need?
Well,
Pellets.
And then he has a bunch of people help you out getting spare equipment. It's obvious that this is used, and these are all things that are too small for you. Like a little hobbit mallet that you're going to have to bend way over or squat to try to use. Except maybe the dwarf a bit.
Not so much for the dwarf, yeah.
Yeah. And then he says, I recommend helmets. There's a public safety initiative on right now. I don't know why you're not wearing your helmets. Wartrude's not going to be very happy. But maybe that's a big people thing. I don't understand. But that's up to you. And then, of course, you'll need to wear your jerseys. I don't think that this will work. It's just not proper. I'm sorry. And he looks at you like you're wearing like chainmail and armor and tunics and whatever, actually useful equipment that you have that you survive in. And they're wearing like and I can never think of what it's called, but basically the Hobbit vest thing. But then they don't have a coat on instead of having the waistcoat.
It's called a waistcoat.
They have the waistcoat, but instead of having the coat part, they just have the vest, and then they have the shirt, but then they've pulled their sleeves up, and otherwise they're just covered in dirt stains and bruises.
Dapper hobbits.
Well, perhaps we'll have to hold off on a scrimmage for another time then, until we can become properly attired. But let me ask you, how did you and your fellows fare in the goblin attack?
Not very well, sir. Yes, we lost the game that day. Terribly distracting.
You continued playing during the attack, you said?
Of course, we had it scheduled. I'm not going to break the schedule. We keep the game schedule very tightly. We don't just break the game schedule. And he looks over at another hobbit like, who are these people?
Ethel.
Okay.
So,
Question: how old? Sorry to interrupt. How long has this game been played? Because
for generations.
So you're not aware of the original rules of croquet.
Now and he seems really offended and like flabbergasted that you would say something like that. And some of the other hobbits they stop fussing
because the rule that doesn't come up. That it's a very esoteric rule that hasn't come up in a long time. That there are more points for bashing in goblin skulls. So you could have won the game. Whoever had beaten the most goblin skulls in would have actually won the game. You weren't aware of that rule?
That's ridiculous.
They were definitely aware from that rule.
but I'll say that I'll say that you can make a charisma check, but it's at +4 for the result. So
yeah, I figured that was a long shot. But I'm just
long
trying
shot.
everything.
Yeah, but I like it, so we'll see.
I gotta go take the dog out real quick. I'll be right back.
All right.
So let's see. I'm trying to roll under on my charisma.
Yeah, but you add +4 to the result.
Gotcha. And well, let's see what happens. Oh, nat 20.
That's
right.
Oh no!
Oh no!
The
Nope.
irony. The absolute
Yep, of
irony.
course. The nat 20 is like, oh, my +1 to charisma is not going to help this.
He says, Dagbert. He yells out a name, and just like this other hobbit comes up. He's kind of portly, and he's like, Dagbert. The history of the game. And Dagbert looks at him like, are you sure? And he's like, yes. And Dagbert's like, well, okay. And he's like, wait, Dagbert. Only the past 50 years, please. And he crosses his arms. And this takes 3 hours as he recites the precise history of every match that's happened in the past 50 years. You waste
In the
most of the day
beginning.
between paperwork and trying to convince the... yes, exactly. The dinosaurs. You trying to convince the Hill Dogs Croquet Club of the history of their own game, of which they're matchless in their understanding of. So it is now evening. Brutal. But I'll say that you can still probably meet with one other merchant, social order entity if you chose. But in the meantime, after he finishes his history, all the other hobbits clap. They loved it.
I don't want to speak for the group, but I do want to go and see this pet raven who's not being taken care of since their keeper has been missing.
I avoid any bird or avian or any feathered creature in this game.
Mildred does keep you awake. She likes to talk at night.
Who's Mildred?
The goose.
She's my goose.
You have a goose?
Not willingly.
We didn't mention the goose?
Why would you
Gosh.
keep a goose unwillingly? Why don't you just butcher it?
No.
Well, it does lay golden
get rid of
eggs, so-
He's
Yeah,
tried.
there's the golden eggs, and she's a little too sentient for...
Does she
For
speak to
butchering?
you?
And squawks.
Not in reasonable words.
I'm sorry. Let me back up. I'm going to fill in some of the details. Jake, we just threw you in the middle of this. Let's see. Yes, they have a goose named Mildred. It lays golden eggs. You got 4 golden eggs today.
And why is this a bad thing? That sounds amazing.
She's very aggressive, and
What?
she eats a lot,
If you ever laid a golden egg, I imagine it's a difficult task.
and she squawks at bad hours.
So what happened was we were
Oh, and I forgot to
trying
mention the matronly order of good manners constructed a small fence for you. So Mildred has an outdoor enclosure.
Good.
Yeah. But you still hear her at night. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
What happened was we had been looking for the barrows or the moors. Barrows? Barrow mounds? Barrow mounds that we had gone in for the sword, but on our way there we were supposed to rescue we were supposed to find a hobbit that we were going to rescue. Well, we found him in a mansion that was surrounded by a giant. So we went inside to help him out and to run away from this giant. And he had stolen a goose, Mildred, from the giant, who she lays golden eggs. And he didn't want to give her back to the giant, who would have squished him anyway. He was upset, being stolen from. And then there are 3 ghosts in there who are also trying to steal Mildred. So we were trying to get him to get rid of the goose just so that we could kind of carry on with our
And you
with
all
our
had
business.
a goose truce.
Yeah, we had a goose truce. And then he died due to somebody cast something on the floor, and he got thrown up, and he died. So suddenly it's we didn't really need to keep the goose anymore. So Bashaw, because nobody else was there that day, or very very few of the other guys. Bashaw was like, well, I guess we could just kind of go now, and we're trying to escape. And then they start fading away, and they're like, "Okay, have the goose." And Bashal's like, "No, please. Like, we don't need the goose. You guys were looking for the goose. We're good. We can go." So just Bashar ended up with the goose. Could not get rid of the goose. I tried to give it away to whoever would. Nobody will take it. I cannot get rid of this goose. Want a goose?
I mean, I'm already the town hermit who fishes for them. Having a goose probably wouldn't be the worst companion. I think the goose would probably like to go down the river once in a while. So, but in lieu of goose, I am still interested in the raven. So I'd like to go try to navigate bystanders and different hobbits and ask them where the raven is in.
You come up on a set of hobbits, and they don't even let you finish. They're like, "Oh, a big person! Hey, look, a big person!" And immediately when you approach, they say, "You know, what is the top item on your bucket list? Do you have a bucket list where you're from? Do you all have bucket lists?"
I don't have a list nor a bucket, but I'm interested in what you're speaking of.
Well, it's when you want items, mathams that you collect, and you put them in buckets, and you array them out, and that's what you put your mathams in. And me and Lo here, we're talking about what we would put in buckets if we had. And the truth is, well, with everything that's going on, we don't have any buckets ourselves. That's pretty sad. The truth is, my family's been saying that part of this is my fault. I haven't been living up. The reason I don't have buckets is because I haven't been living up to my potential as a Bradfoot. He starts crying and he leans on you and starts weeping.
I gingerly pat him on the back and frantically look around for anybody else.
Okay, you go to another group of hobbits, and they're a group of.
As I'm walking over, I imagine it's like the thing, like the hobbit's like stepping on my foot and still clinging to my leg as I'm like waddling over there.
Oh yeah, and you walk up, and there's a group of female hobbits, and they say, "Oh, it's the big person. Hey, what is it that you like the most about the fall feast this year? You know, the thing I like the most." And they start talking about all the foods at the fall festival and how it kind of fell short. But then they talked about the foods that they really liked that they're excited about. And before you're even able to ask about the raven, one of them's like, "Oh no, the fall feast," like one of the other girls. She's like, "Oh no. Oh," and then one of the girls is like, "What's wrong?" And he's like, "Well, Dandelion Proudfoot gave me a thing of baked bread and a tin of kippers this year." And the other one's like, "Well, that sounds lovely." And she's like, "No, I'll have to write her a card." And then they start consoling her.
I will gingerly separate my leg from the weeping hobbit and have him get in on this consoling where they're just like all in a little huddle and helping each other out.
It seems like everywhere you go, there's a fuss.
Yes, I'd like to just use my eyes and look for any type of perch or post or where.
There's a signpost. It's a very elaborate signpost, and there's a ton of different merchants and businesses and things, as well as the social orders themselves. that are on the signpost.
Okay. Well, I'll take a look at that and try to navigate that, but I don't want to take up everyone's time. So whatever everyone wants to do.
Are you trying to find the town bowyer?
I'm sure. Yeah.
I think somebody asked if there was a bowyer, and I
he's-
apologize because apparently there was one, but he's dead now.
He's dead. Yeah, he was dead. I was just looking for the raven.
Yeah, you go to his house, following the signpost.
Dang it. I would have bought a bow.
I'm sorry. Yeah, I think you mentioned it, and I looked and I missed it. But yeah, they did have a bowyer in town. Anyways, because they had a hunting lodge. Excuse me. So you go to the bowyer's house, and you can see where there's all these different devices for stringing things. The door isn't locked. It's wide open. You can just walk right on in. And there's a bird that's just crapped everywhere and just caused absolute havoc and chaos in here. And it looks hungry.
We'll take a ration, I guess. 'Cause that's all I have on me. And crumble a piece into my hand, and then take a knee and try to chirp at it, I guess. I don't know how to make a bird sound. I think Warden would know a lot better about how to attract a bird than I would.
Yeah. You trying to keep the bird? Is that what you're doing?
I mean, yeah.
Or are you just trying to feed it? You're trying.
I mean, I'd like to keep the bird from dying, and also it might be useful in the future if I can tame it and befriend it.
Okay. By feeding it, it's super enthusiastic, and you chirp back and forth with each other in bird talk. But I mean, you don't actually talk bird talk. It was just happy to talk to somebody, and you're able to hold on to it and basically like soothe it and hold it like this, and its head is nervously darting around, but you're able to kind of hurry back to Brandon's house if you're trying to keep the raven.
Yeah, I'll try to keep it intact, and maybe I'll store it in my, or like try to make it a little nook in my fishing shack.
Oh yeah, okay. You put it in the
or
fishing
maybe I
shack.
can
Sure.
give it spare tackle and lures and stuff that I'm
Yeah.
sure I have bait that I can feed it to.
All right. What is everybody else doing? You have the raven now at their fishing shack.
In fact, ravens will in fact cuddle.
Nice.
Well, how did it go with the hill dogs?
Super good, and we definitely should talk about that anymore.
Okay.
Well, we learned a lot about the history of croquet.
Over the last 50 years, though.
They didn't
Yeah.
buy the whole goblin skull angle.
Nat 20.
Nat 20 on my check. Yep.
Oh, they did buy it.
No, that Nat 20 is bad. I needed a 1 that's roll under.
Oh, bummer.
Yeah. Worst possible outcome on that.
Okay. Let's see. Where else do you go at the day? You can probably visit one other person, merchant, place, or if you left Brandonsford, you could probably make it out a few miles and back with the remainder of the day.
I want to get a lantern.
Okay. Let's see.
Wait, we were going to nab some off of half-burned buildings. Or at least I was. I might not have said that out loud, but that was my plan.
That's a good idea.
I have a lantern already. I just haven't used it. Might need an extra.
You go in some of the burned down buildings to try to loot them. I will say
No,
it's a chaotic act, but I'm not going to stop you from doing it.
No, my idea was, like, as we're kind of walking past places, how some of them might have, like, the lanterns hanging from the front. His idea was just kind of be like, all right, well, he was just going to take one or two to use them
stealing
for this, but...
You'd be stealing from a dead person. Is your alignment neutral? You don't have any kind of...
No, it's lawful. I wouldn't, I wouldn't do it. Not with the intent of,
Change
like,
some of the stuff we had
theft or
in the wagons.
Now that being said, like, it is a dead person's lantern, and you could probably, it will take time, go to the town hall and say, "Hey, I'm a bounder, and I want to try to use this for government purposes." And
You need
everything.
a lantern. I can get you a lantern.
And you
Says the
actually,
thief.
you do find a lantern on one of the burned buildings that no one's taken, by the way. But if you want to buy a lantern, you could go to the general store and find a lantern.
I'll take that route.
Okay, you go to the lantern. Or I'm sorry,
I asked Bashaw to come with me because he's the money man.
So the difference between stealing from the dead and looting a tomb is just how many years have passed.
Kind of. Does anybody live near the tomb?
You follow the signs to get to Cedric's General Store. And there's a big, portly hobbit with suspenders and a big bushy mustache. And he's like, "Oh, hello there. Welcome. Come on in."
I'll have a look around.
"Oh, please do. Anything you like, let me know." He goes to stocking some things. He has all of the adventuring supplies, I think. Let me see if there's anything he wouldn't have things like Wolfsbane. Adventuring gear? Adventuring gear. Here's what he has. He has everything except Wolfsbane, food. He does have dried rations, iron rations here, that you can purchase. But you notice that his stock is low, and you probably only get one of any of these things, including oil, lanterns, or torches. And you can actually see places where there's shelving that's empty. I don't see anything else that he wouldn't have. He wouldn't have a 10-foot pole. But yeah,
Well,
he wouldn't have a mirror.
I'd like to get a lantern.
All right, a lantern will be when you point it out to him, he says, "Well, that'll be 500 silver pieces."
500 silver.
Oh, well, yes. The supply shipments haven't been coming in. I can barely afford what I need.
We can only do that in gems. We don't have physically 200 or more than. We've only got 260.
Oh. Okay.
There is
How
a
much
place in town where you could. I think there's a gem seller. Gem. Oh wait, no, there's not. I think you all have asked about that before. Yeah, there's no
Yeah,
gem
that
seller
were-
in this town.
How much are the torches?
The torches. So, well, those I'd 10 silver pieces for 6.
I'm gonna have to do that.
I'm really sorry, big person, but you have to understand, nobody's been coming by with shipments. I can't get anything in.
Well, hopefully we can do something about that.
Oh, you work for the town hall, or did they hire you?
Oh, can't you see our
Oh,
badges of
you're
honor?
bounders. Oh, well, anything to help a bounder.
Anything?
Except lowering the prices. I haven't had shipments
Okay,
come
well. Well then,
in. You know, by the way, something that's kind of interesting to me. They say that there's those people that been putting on the shows in town, and I would swear that they do that puppet show. You've heard about that, haven't you?
I don't think I have.
Oh. Oh, never mind. And he goes back to work.
Well, tell me more about the puppet show.
I'm hearing like a
The lewd one?
drum roll quest added.
He's like, no, I'm afraid I don't want to speak of that. It's not proper.
Who might want to?
Oh, you can go speak with them if you want to.
Where are they?
If you're not going to go buy anything, then, well, they're over at the
I did buy something.
Well, that's true. The amphitheater on the other side of town towards the farms. That's where they do all their practicing.
I gotta say, this visit was a lot less nice than I thought it would be, good sir.
Well, I feel the same, good sir.
Right, well, thanks for the business anyway. Oh, wait. How much for the ration?
Oh, for a ration?
Yeah.
Food is scarce, or scarce. Rations, and these are iron rations. It would be, he says, 300 silver pieces.
God. Good day.
Good day. He goes back to work. Yeah, as soon as he brings up the puppet show and then you try to ask about it, he gets upset for some reason.
Alright. I find, are there kids running around?
There are Hobbit kids running around.
Yeah. Well, good.
Let
me get one.
All right, they're trying to. They're pretending when you approach that they are their favorite members of the Hill Dogs Club. When you approach, they're like, "Oh, big people, big people!" And a Hobbit child comes up to you and is like, and says, I watch every night. The Hill Dogs, they drink a lot of alcohol. Do you drink alcohol?
I certainly do, young man.
Oh, I
young
want
Hobbit.
some alcohol. Can you give me some alcohol?
I don't think that would be proper.
Another one of them's like, I don't know. My dad drinks a lot of alcohol and he has a headache today.
Tell me, youngsters, where's the puppet show?
They're all like, like it's surprised when you mention puppet show. And like, how dare someone mention something so nasty?
A puppet show? Children are opposed to puppets?
Yeah, it's like you get the impression that like you just don't ask about the puppet show.
Would you be more interested in talking about the puppet show if you had some alcohol?
Yay!
I take my water skin and I will give them each a little bit of it and tell them that it's alcohol. They
act like the Hill Dogs at night, and they all pretend to be drunk, and they all love it because they see their heroes do it. So then like they're like, oh yeah, of course. And they tell you that the puppet show is on the north side of town prior to getting to the farms, and that they're practicing today.
What's the puppet show about? Do you know?
Some of them look embarrassed when you ask that, and they're like, "Oh, they make jokes and stuff, and I mean, our parents don't let us go to the puppet show, but whatever." And then they go back to playing. They seem like everyone's pretty reticent to talk about what's in the puppet show.
Puppet show sounds awesome. Let's go.
Agreed.
I feel like I need to go and catch some fish before I'm allowed to. That's my duty to the town, but I am also intrigued by puppet show.
We will resolve your fishing between sessions for sure. For the town, and then what happens? Okay, so
I just don't want to have fun and then come back and then be like, "You haven't caught any fish. We hate you, mister." I'm like, I'm sorry. I'm just trying to exist in my mind.
Just trying to exist, exactly.
Ross just definitely successfully did some fishing there. Getting reeled right into this.
It's so much harder than a dungeon. This is the hard mode here, is trying to navigate Hobbit life. Okay, so you go to the north end of town, and there is a wooden constructed small amphitheater with a covering and then a place in the back where you can see how there's costumes and stuff. And indeed, someone is behind one of the screens, and there are viewers that are watching this. 3 of them are just Hobbit men sitting in the amphitheater smoking, and there's a puppet show going on as you approach, some 30-40 yards away.
Can we tell any details of this puppet show?
You get closer?
Pretty sure.
Yes.
Okay. You see little mock-ups of, in particular, Edward. It's obvious that, like, you have this, like, typical 15th century Englishman, at least as a player you would know, that kind of style and look. And then you have this, like, kind of grotesque, large-headed man with a chunk taken out of the puppet on one side of its face, and then a dark puppet that has like a big frown. And these are obviously caricatures of all of you, and they're like, like the English one was like, oh, I don't know what to do with hobbits, blah, 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 blah. And like the dark skinned one, it's just like, has its little puppet arms, and it's just like, all the time. And then, yeah, sorry. Yeah, it's obviously making fun of you, the adventures. The Ben one is just like, like, oh, can I get a good deal? Oh, and like moving its puppet arms.
Rabbi loves this. That's the best.
Shaw even unfolds his arms.
Yeah. You can
just
see
like you, man.
you can see hobbits passing by, and they're just muttering, and like, obviously this is just not appropriate behavior.
Okay, I'm gonna unsling my loot.
Oh.
And I'm going to begin accompanying the puppet show.
They're surprised at first, but then it turns into a whole puppet dance thing, and they make a whole performance out of it, and a bunch of the old, Hobbit men. You recognize these are some of the lads who won't do nothing that you saw early on, that were hanging out near the signpost at night.
Vagrants.
Yeah, and they laugh and clap and stuff, and just absolutely not proper hobbitish behavior. Several of the people, and they have, their helmets on and everything. You don't even have helmets on, and you put on this show, and they even like shield their children's eyes as they pass, like, don't look at this, and they usher them off. And at the end, a Hobbit girl hops out and is like, "That was fantastic, and I think you should take some of your earnings, mister." These people had laid out some silver coins, and she gives you 6 silver pennies to Edward.
All right. A few more like that, and a few dozen more like that, and I can afford that lantern.
And she says, I hope you don't take it, personally or anything, mister. I didn't mean anything by it.
Oh no, most amusing thing I've seen all day.
Oh, really? Most people in town don't think very highly of us.
And why is that?
Well, they would say that it's a, a rather Aldwin thing to do. To put on shows and puppet shows and things.
Oh, yes. Well, that sounds almost like a mark of honor to me.
She beams. And she says, anytime you're around, if you ever want to perform for us, you don't even have to ask. You're quite good with that. And points to the lute.
Why, thank you, and I give her my very best big person bow.
She bows as well.
All right. Well, since you seem like you have your head screwed on, what can you tell us about these knights of the old road?
She looks over at the other actors and actresses, and they just burst out laughing. They're like, the Knights of the Old Road? Those old men that march around in suits of armor and poke at each other with sticks and things?
Yes, those are the ones.
What would you like to know? They're a bunch of old men, and they don't have families for the most part. Some of them do, but they get together and they dress up in suits of armor that don't fit them very well, and they read books about how to use it, and they poke each other with sticks. It's ridiculous. And that's coming from us. And then they laugh.
Now, what's ridiculous about that?
It's just, well, you know what? That's a good point. I suppose people say that about us. I was going to say it's not very hobbitish.
Yes, well, I was just thinking that it might do Brandonsford good to add a little bit of non-hobbitishness to the mix. Might save people's lives.
Well, I can't argue with that. It's something that we would say, and you're not wrong, that to be a little bit Aldwin's not a bad thing.
Well, they're hobbits too, aren't they?
The Knights of the Old Road? Oh,
no,
yes.
The Alduins. Alduins, you said?
Oh, the Aldwins. Well,
yeah.
That's just the question. Some say they're not.
I see. Well, people need to be on their toes, ready for action. And that seems to be the Aldwin spirit. From what I've heard, anyway. So every time I find it, it gives me a little bit of hope for you all that you will survive the next goblin encounter.
Oh, the goblins. Yeah. And then I've heard that there's a dragon, too.
Well, I don't, yes. I wasn't going to talk about that. I feel the goblins are probably something that you could handle.
And then the dwarves don't trade with us, and we don't have any food, and the crops have failed, and the harvest fair has failed this year, and several of our major leaders are dead, and yeah, we have some things to worry about.
Things look
pretty rough times around here, but you guys are great. You're all the best.
You guys are great. You're the future of Brandonsford, dare I say it?
It would take a big person to say that. I'm sorry, what were you saying, Steve?
You're the sanest hobbits we have met.
Oh. Well, don't take it that far. We're still hobbits. I mean, look, you don't have to... joking's fine, but you don't have to insult us that much.
He's confused.
I think my friend means that we find it... Oh. It's refreshing to see that you're engaged in this occupation. It's an amusing diversion.
Absolutely. or we're gonna get back to our rehearsals.
All right, let's go meet these knights.
All of the
Are you...
the acting troupe breaks out in dance that they start practicing.
I will idly strum some chords for them, but I'm not going to take up I'm not going to get all involved or anything. Just, yes. As we walk away, I'll play us out.
Okay. Where are you guys headed? What do you think, Dave?
Are you talking to me?
Yeah. Where would you like to? So when you hopped in, they were basically, they've been going around town trying to prepare Brandonsford because there was a goblin attack and so a bunch of people died, right? And so they were like, all right, we need to prepare the town for war. And frankly, they have just like made no headway whatsoever. Like all of the hobbits are just completely oblivious to this.
Yeah, I'm looking at the fortifications, you know, what's defendable, what's not, you know?
One of the things, and I think as a dwarf this would be obvious to you, that there's nothing to the city or to the Shire that is inherently defensible. In fact, this is not a defensible position, except that one of the most peculiar things about the Shire is that it has a immense and completely reliable and extremely well-made stone wall of heavy stone that's several feet thick and that towers up 20 feet high. And it goes all the way
on one side.
It encircles the Shire, and it has 2 points of entry and exit. It has 2 gates, and the gates are these big, heavy combination of old oak and metal things that with banded metal. And there's no way that anything could probably get under the gate very easily. There's nothing on the top, but then the gates also have a place where lookouts could be posted, but the hobbits are just terrible at manning the lookout.
So Darlan starts looking at it and starts figuring out the number of guard posts that would be required. If it's 4-sided, it'd be 4 at minimum. If not, 2 more in the center, on the centers, maybe up to 8. And then starts figuring out how many you would need to have guarding and looking out at a time. Almost like a guard roster.
They had actually Edward had mentioned that to the Shire Reeve, and when he did, the Shire Reeve started basically going over union rules for their bounders, like when they were supposed to do breaks and when they were supposed to they have a full meal every 2 hours, and then the Shire Reeve is like, we could probably make it 3 hours, and they seem to just cease activity multiple times a day.
Siesta.
Yeah.
Like everybody sees.
Yeah, there's no hobbit who just works all day. Like every hobbit will, and they have all these different social rituals that they'll do, in between working.
So, and there's nobody we ran into that is like halfway kind of martial in a way, right? Halfway kind of like.
I'd say that would be Knob, Ned, and Squints. Those people are now warriors.
That's right.
They're level 1.
Yeah. I can't use them to convince others of the utility of having the guards up there at the posts.
You could try.
Yeah. So his charisma's average. So anyways, it's just a discussion with the 3, Squint and the other 2 right there. Now we need to get them. We need to get your town people to start guarding against these goblins. Okay. All hours of the day, and I can't see 24/7 because I don't know if there's 24 hours in a day. All hours on shifts. I don't know if I can get your people to do this.
Do you go try to find Knob or Ned and Squints? Ned and Squints are the 2 brothers. They live in the farms. Knob is at the Matham house on the opposite side of town.
Okay. The 2 brothers.
Okay.
Turtles.
Squints, he got armor and weapons out of, in his adventure and everything, and they're both level 1, I think. Yeah, they became level 1.
Yeah, they leveled up. You said it in the last thing.
And so they, Ned's like, well, I see what you mean. Like we went on that adventure with you all, and we fought that slime monster, and we ran from the ghost, and there was the dragon and everything. And the fact is, Mister, I just don't think that people realize what kind of danger this town is in, and I just don't think they've ever had to deal with anything like this in their life before. I'm not sure how to try to convince these other hobbits of what they'll have to do and what they'll have to give up if they want to keep on living and not lose the town that they'd worked on.
Yeah, I'm thinking to myself, the initial the attack they had with the fires and everything didn't convince anybody of anything so far, I guess.
Well, I think that they kind of saw that as almost like a accident, and they man the walls, but they just don't understand what you big people, like heroes like yourself, you know what it takes, and you have the muscle and the grit and stuff. But hobbits, well, it's real rare. Are not many people that could man a wall like that, unless you were to find hobbits and convince them of it some way sideways. Maybe you don't want guards guarding. Maybe you want somebody who likes to watch to be guarding.
Somebody who's nosy up there.
A nosy hobbit. That might be an idea. Why?
Collection of them.
You'd have to give them something to be looking for so they could be all nosy about it. Well, then they'd start spreading rumors about it all over town. It'd be a fuss. They'd start a fuss on everything they saw on that wall.
That might
get them on the wall. That's the essential part. And then you have to be equipped and know who to warn when somebody was going to attack. That's the other details.
Kind of thinking commissioned a puppet show people to do just a see a goblin hit it with a rock campaign for the puppet show, just to spread word. Maybe, I don't know.
The PSA, public service announcement.
Exactly, that's what I was thinking. See a goblin, hit it with a rock. Get that
see something, say something. Yes, exactly.
Yeah.
One of the reasons the goblins came and attacked was to steal their stuff back so that they could trade it for gold and drown the economy.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, who would you go and tell that to? I will give you, by the way, the social orders that you find on the signs: the Matronly Order of Good Manners, the Matham House, the Knights of the Old Road, the Hill Dogs Croquet Club, one that has been marked out, and you don't see what it says, and it points toward the old house. The Benevolent Rite of the Lion, the Prestigious Order of the Eagle, the Exalted Order of the Serpent, the Most Noble and Goodly and Rightly Order of the Good Badger, and then, you know that there's the Lads Who Won't Do Nothing, but they don't have a sign.
they just stand by the sign.
Yeah.
Still a group though.
Lads Who Won't Do Nothing sound like perfect gate guards.
Yeah. But they gotta have some motivation to be up there.
They just gotta stand there.
And observe.
They just gotta stand there. You can have the watch do the observing.
You know the best place to do nothing? Up on top of the wall. Nobody's going to go up there.
And you can watch everybody else. Well, kind of both ways.
Yeah.
Let's go to our friend who has the magic ale now and roll a barrel up there. Say, you know what we found?
But then they wouldn't be watching; they'd be drinking, right?
Yeah, that has mixed.
A little bit of column A, a little bit of column B.
Yeah.
That's a lot of goodly orders that they have here.
Those are all the social orders, except for at least one that's not listed. And then it looks like maybe there's others that are not listed on the signs as far as having a meeting house.
Well, there's a lion sounds interesting. But who would we talk to about the economy?
You could ask somebody. You could ask a hobbit.
How about we ask what's his name, the general store? Oh, he likes us.
You go back to Cedric.
Isn't there also a dwarf forger who could be competent in the manner of?
He's not a dwarf, but
Oh, he's not. I thought he was.
he's just friends with the dwarf.
Oh,
You
okay.
go speak to Warwick, the blacksmith.
I just thought it might be an option. Sadly, I actually have to go, so
Oh, okay.
I'll be dipping out. But I've had a great time tonight. You guys are awesome.
All right. Have a great night.
Have a good one.
Warwick deals in gold.
I think maybe the guy at the pub.
Now, are both
Fluster
of
he
them,
got.
the last couple of nights, have we noticed, are both pubs now more equally attended?
There are people that are starting to go over to the Golden Egg now. I also want to ask, what do you all think? Because it's going to take a week in order for this public safety initiative to go through. Do you want to just tackle all this stuff over the period of a week and not leave? And I'm not saying literally 7 sessions. I mean literally right now it's evening time. Yeah. Okay, let's go to the next day and so on and so forth.
A week of downtime. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
I'm not opposed to it, although I feel as though there's probably a few things we could get Knob and Ned and Squints on. Like, they could probably talk to the wastrels and get them, situated at a more strategic point, and they can maybe find the gossips in town and say, hey, or something. I don't know, but I don't know if we have to be there. Are you suggesting we just it's a week between now and next session?
No, I'm just saying we'll go ahead and play out a week. Right now it's evening, no big deal. All right, what happens the next day? We'll just tackle all this right now.
Okay.
There are all the different things that you want to do to prepare, with the assumption that in 6 days, actually, they're going to have a town hall meeting, and you could propose any public safety initiatives and tie a bow on it.
Yeah.
Okay, so
They can wear helmets on the wall too.
yeah, everybody's got their helmets, but the lads who won't do nothing are clearly not wearing helmets.
No.
They're very subversive. So you go talk to Knob Boulderhill at the Matham House about where do you go next? Who do you talk to and what do you do?
Just thinking who would be best.
And you could also just talk to hobbits. I got tons of hobbits. Yes, they're hard to talk to. Yes, they want to fuss. As soon as you try to talk to them, they're going to try to pull you into a fuss.
It's I'm thinking, if nothing else, if it's late enough in the evening, retire at the bar and just kind of talk where we're conspicuously overheard about how, I don't know.
All right. You
just kind of trying to drop rumors as talking amongst ourselves or talking to Knob and Squints and at the bar about how they're trying to ruin the economy.
Which bar do you go to?
Kind of want to go try back at the Golden Egg, see how it's doing since we kind of helped out with the whole fairy problem, right? But the other one was the more prolific one, so I guess whichever one seems the most popular, whoever's got the most people in it, I would think, for this kind of rumor campaign.
What's the
Clumsy Fox?
Yeah, I think it was a lazy fox because he got real upset when I tried to pay him in gold.
We've been out and about killing goblins and uncovering their plots and stuff, right? We'll just be talking about that.
Notes are useless for that one. Oh, I think you're muted.
I'm muted. I'm sorry. Not the Golden Egg Tavern. Nob, Ned, and Squints are not here. There are various groups of hobbits that you could strike up conversations to. As soon as you start trying to talk, they're going to start with their fuss. And they say they're talking about their buckets. These are some older hobbit men, that made their way over back to the Golden Egg. They remember back when it was a nice place to go. And he says, last month I lost a bet on a chicken race. It was an awfully annoying neighbor of mine. It was that ridiculous Tobias that had won the bet on that chicken race. Would you believe that? I mean, would you believe that, Dagbert? Dagbert's here. And he's like, he's smoking. He's like, yes, Tobias, yes. And that's what he's fussing about when you. I lost 6 copper on that race.
I'm going to play a tune.
Okay. You strike up a tune in the tavern. Yeah.
Up to 2 HD of creatures, up to 4 HD of creatures will be affected by this.
Okay.
And I'm just targeting in a group, so it'll be a random number of people who are actually enchanted. If they do not save versus spell.
What's your intention? What are you singing? What are you trying to do?
Oh, well, I'm just doing my. So the performance is going to be about. It's going to be about the history of Brandonsford and about the what made Brandon so glorious and the glory of this town.
Yeah.
Seen from far and wide. The walls are glorious, and they're a treasure. It's Brandon's gift, and what a shame it would be if we were ever to forget that, or let them go untended, or risk losing everything that all of us have lived and died and to enrich and protect all these years and pass on to our children and etc.
Okay, so your public safety initiative, you're trying to start some propaganda.
Yep.
For the walls. Okay.
Planting seeds.
All right. That works. And have you ever seen I don't know if you've ever played the game, what is it called? The Bard's Tale. There's that scene where they're drinking,
Which one?
They just, I think it's the first one. Or maybe I can't remember if it's the first one or not. Okay, maybe it's not the first one.
Yeah, are you talking about the one where Carrie Elways did the voice of the Bard?
Maybe. I don't know.
It's an isometric perspective, top down.
It is, but it's still an action RPG.
Yeah, that's the sort of late 90s, early aughts remake of the Bard's Tale.
Gotcha. Well, it's the one where they had they just everybody in the tavern starts singing, and it's like a Irish sing-along thing, and everybody here gets into it, is my point. And they also start just singing along about how great Brandonsford is as they drink. And this is something that puts the clumsy fox to shame. So Quinn is he's smiling, you can see behind the bar, because the Clumsy Fox is known for story and song. And that's like one of its big selling points apart from its foxtail brew. So to have this going on here, some more hobbits even enter the tavern during the performance. They all get into it.
Oh
So
my.
that works. I'll apply the effect to the town hall meeting. What else do you all want to do? Gather information, chat with people, try to convince people of things. What else?
And pints of ale.
You buy some ale. Okay, well that would be...
Yes.
Quinn is doing much better, and in fact another big selling point of Quinn's tavern is that the ale is delicious, and for some reason he has a supply of it. And so for 2 silver pennies, you can have a pint. So if you get 3 pints, it would be 6 silver pennies. And be 5 silver pennies if you want food to go with it.
I'm buying 10 to go around.
Do you have silver pennies?
Oh, unfortunately, I have gold.
Do you show gold?
I throw 1 gold up there, and that's, what, 10 by itself.
I don't think Thornland knows. I think you present gold and everybody's like, and they're just like,
I know.
they gasp at it.
I quickly laugh and put it away and
The Shaw
let's
pipes
shop for
in.
the love of God.
A well-dressed hobbit comes by, a hobbit with spectacles and a bald head, and he sits down. He's got a narrow front face and nose and small mouth, and he's very well dressed, and he says, "Oh, excuse me, I see that you're outsiders."
And you would be?
The name is Fridolin Everard the Third.
Have you not heard of us, Thriveland?
I heard that there were outsiders that were going about town.
Oh, we're not outsiders anymore, surely. I mean, just look. And
You
I
can wear
point to
that
the...
little sash as much as you want, but you'll be an outsider in this town. But don't worry, I'm eager to help you, especially if we could help one another.
Oh, my.
I'm listening.
I am,
I sit back and cross my arms and let Ben take care of this
It's
one.
like, oh, shady. Hold on. I'm listening.
I am from a long line of Everards. We manage the bank in town. And we're part of an organization called the Exalted Order of the Serpent. Perhaps you've heard of us? And he lays out his hand, and it's got some ring on it, that they all wear.
I'm
A serpent on it.
familiar
Yeah, of course.
with serpents.
It's not that nice, though. It's not that big of a deal. Okay. you feign like you do know. He's like, yes, of course. I figured you would have already heard of us. You see, we're very business-minded people, the Order of the Serpent. We were the ones that established all of the trade with the dwarves. Can't help but notice, you look like a dwarf. He says that to Tharnlin. Are you, where are you from? To Tharnlin.
Oh, well, I'm from Northeast here, over the hills. You were saying before.
Karnbuldar.
So I'm like, yeah.
Yeah.
Beyond, and yes.
Karnbuldar. Oh. And why haven't you come to visit us? What is keeping the dwarves from making it in?
That is why I'm here, to find out what is going on. Why have you not been trading with us?
Dragon.
What has happened?
Ah, yes, the
Dragon.
dragon. And I've already heard that you've been deputized as bounders, and that you'd be taking care of this dragon problem. Now listen. It's important that we foster a good business and economic environment here that's mutually beneficial to all of the hobbits and visitors to Brandonsford. Do you understand? Do you take my meaning? Just want to make sure that everything is equitable and best for all of the hobbits of Brandonsford. So
we want to make sure the trade is flourishing between our communities. Historically, you were great trading partners with us.
It warms my heart. Other than the points of trade like the smith and the general store and Cedric, it's best that you not show any gold about the Shire.
Shaw kind of reaches into his pocket, and just barely visible through his fingers is a golden egg. And he just kind of taps the table. Tap. Tap. We have a goblin problem.
His eyes go up and down like that as you tap the golden egg. And he says, now, I, on the other hand, might have some interest in some gold. And I'm willing to help if you have a need of silver in town. But I would want to know that the dragon problem is resolved. And don't show anyone else any of the gold that you have. We wouldn't want to upset things. It's a very delicate balance, especially in these times. The goblins.
You just want to look at the egg, though. Yeah.
Well, I just wanted to speak about the gold, and I would ask that you please put that away. I don't know where you got it. But I can take it later. But if you have it out, then I don't know what might happen at the town hall meeting at the end of the week.
And I put my point back in my pocket.
Stops tapping, and he kind of looks at Edward's sword. And it bends knives. And looks back at him. Tap.
I see. Well, yes, you're very big and you have some swords and knives. You have heard the phrase, the pen is mightier? I think we will see. And he gets up and leaves the table, fuming.
He doesn't know what goblins do.
I do believe was someone trying to shake us down there. So there is a bank in town.
Who is now your enemy?
Okay, but what you got to do?
You want to speak with any other hobbits? Man, rough times. Easier times in the dungeon.
It's so much easier in the dungeon.
So much easier to deal with dragons than hobbits.
Well, it's probably... Was there anything else that we needed to do in the tavern other than just enjoy the rest of the evening?
I think that you were going to try to start a rumor but about the gold. But then Bashaw made him mad and he walked off.
Well, yeah, so maybe I should... I'm going to run after that guy.
Okay. He's walking briskly. He's like, I don't have anything else that I can give you. And I think that, in fact, our bank here might just be... It's going through a rough time, I'm afraid.
Let me just... pardon the interruption.
He stops.
Good, sir. I don't know what in the world happened. What were you offering again?
First, I need that outsiders, when you come in here, even if you work out some plan that I haven't been told about by Rortrude or that new Shire Reeve, and that will change in time, I assure you. You do not just you don't just display gold in the open here.
Yes, well, it's all a grievous misunderstanding. Let's back up.
Yes. Well, I would like to rather offer you something. I think that we could be good business partners. First of all, I would like to see the trade open back up with the dwarves again, and I know that you're trying to solve the dragon problem. That would be quite helpful to me and, well, to all of us here in this community. But I also, I think I might be able to help you to that end.
How so?
Well, to a certain extent, if you wanted someone to hold on to your gold or valuables, I could protect them. And if you needed to trade gold that you have for something that could be more useful here, I could do that to a certain extent. I would ask that you not show any gold you find. That's the most important thing.
Okay, so if I have you right, we can deposit our gold with you.
For free.
Correct?
For free. And
for free.
I'll trade some gold for silver.
Now, what's your end of the deal?
Well, you won't be upsetting the local economy so much. And I would ask that you remember me. When the day comes that you should destroy the dragon, you'll be quite popular here. And there's a lot of misunderstandings about the Order of the Serpent. So if you could, I don't know, what's the best word to say? Advertise? If you would sponsor. We could sponsor you. But then at meetings and things, it'd be known that you have the patronage of the Order of the Serpent.
I see. Tell me about these misunderstandings.
It's perhaps has to do with all of the things that have happened lately. I think people think that if we have enough silver that's flooded into the market, that it would solve things. And of course, you seem like an intelligent man. That would not solve things. And I think that they misunderstand the nature of what's going on. Out of character, somebody mentioned something about goblins. I can't remember.
Well, the whole point was the rumor. The idea is that the goblins wanted to take a bunch of gold and then get a bunch of gold and then flood the market with it.
That's what it is. Okay, so you were going to start a rumor, and do you mention that to him?
I think I say to him, I think what my friend was trying to say is that we have the treasures we have because we've been encountering these goblins and finding treasure on them and going into the same places the goblins are going to, and they will flood the economy, the local economy, with gold.
His eyes
It'll
get wide when you say that.
I think that was really my friend's only point. Here, come, let us buy you a drink. Come back in, make friends again.
He talks as you go, and he says, "That's unacceptable. There'll be more gold. It'll get brought back here. The goblins."
Yes.
It's
inevitable. Even if the goblins became friendly, they'd be trying to buy everything with gold.
And I never even thought. I thought that they just came in and killed some people. Never would have thought that they would have ruined the economy.
Oh, no, yes, it's as bad as that.
Oh, dear. Well, this won't do at all.
No, now you see the problem. They must be stopped. The town must be defended from their their ill influences of all kinds.
I have such an influence with the other social orders, even if we're not well liked by the common people. The truth is that they need us, the Order of the Serpent. And we could have a partnership. So I'm thinking, come see me later. If we have an agreement together about the establishment of trade lines, and if you could help us with that, I think it could be very profitable for all of us. But in the meantime, we need to do something about these goblins, and I can spread word of this.
Oh, it sounds wonderful. Will you let us buy you a drink, sir?
He does come back and drink, and he keeps talking about really boring financial matters.
I call Bashaw up and I say, what was his name again? Thrillby? Something?
The Reeve, or?
Yeah, no, the...
Frivolin Everard the Third.
Frivolin.
Fridolin Everard the Third. Yeah.
Fridolin. Bashaw. Fridolin has something he wants to talk to you about, and
Yeah, he says, I see what you are at now, my friend. Yes, it's true. I can see how all those goblins and all of that treasure out there can ruin the economy. And I agree with you. He says all this to Bashaw.
Bashaw's just kind of looking at him and just every once in a while nods.
Bashaw just nods. That's where we'll stop tonight.